Okay guys, today we'll be going over lesson 2, risks of an unbalanced diet. One of the few eating disorders we'll be talking about today is called anorexia nervosa. It is defined as a life-threatening eating disorder. It's usually characterized by abnormally low body weight, an intense fear of gaining weight, and they always have a distorted perception of their weight or their shape. People with anorexia use extreme efforts to control their weight and shape, which usually result in net damages to their health. Common symptoms of anorexia is traumatic weight loss, hiding under bulky clothes to stay warm. They're preoccupied with their weights, their food, their calories, their fats and grams, and usually their overall diet. They make frequent comments about being fat, cannot maintain their body weight, and sometimes they involve excessive exercise. Another eating disorder we'll be talking about today is bulimia nervosa. It's defined as a potentially life-threatening eating disorder. It consists of binging and eating and purging. The purging and the binging usually consists of the feeling of lack of control over their feelings over eating. Let's just go ahead and talk about what binge eating is. So binge eating is consuming large amounts of food quickly, even when you're not hungry, to the point where it's uncomfortable in your stomach. They also have purge behaviors, which is forced vomiting or self-induced vomiting. People with bulimia nervosa also drink excessive amounts of water or non-caloric drinks. They also have calluses on the back of their hands from self-induced vomiting. So you can see right here, this is called Russell sign, and it shows you where either the teeth have hit, or because they repeatedly do that to themselves. And then also they have dental issues from vomiting, from the acidity in vomit. Another eating disorder we'll be talking about today is defined as binge eating. So binge eating consists of regularly eating too much and having the feeling of lack of control of their eating. They may eat more quickly, eat more food than what is intended, even when they're not hungry. Common symptoms of binge eating, I would say seeker recurring episodes of binge eating, so eating in discrete periods of time when no one can see, and at a much larger amount of food than what individuals consider normal. They usually feel like a lack of control of their ability to stop eating. They usually feel disgusted, but they usually have depression or guilt over their overeating, and they have feelings of low self-esteem. They sometimes steal or hoard food in strange places, and they also have to create a lifestyle change over their schedules of their binge eating sessions. So we're going to talk about the binge eating cycle. So part 1, they're going to feel deprived. They feel the need, they're really hungry, maybe getting sick almost. Part 2, they have an overwhelming urge to eat. So they're very hungry at this point, and it's overtaking them. Then they binge. They eat, like we said earlier, eat too much, more than what is normal, quickly. They feel out of control, they feel ashamed, they feel disgusted. So that is when part 5 comes in. Because they feel so disgusted with themselves, they diet to regain control, and this can be a very serious diet. Once they go into diet, they feel deprived because they're super hungry from the diet, and it goes right back into part 1, part 2, part 3, and so on. So you can see it's just an overall forming cycle for the binge eating. So risk factors can include social and cultural factors, friends, the social perception to be thin, add to emotional eating, and it even says that children who are exposed to frequent critical comments about their weight and their size are vulnerable to binge eating. Risk factors for binge eating: psychological factors. So if you have been depressed, or you have impulse control trouble, or you have trouble managing your feelings, can all be huge risk factors for binge eating. So low self-esteem, loneliness can contribute to binge eating. Biological risk factors. So they can for sure affect if your risk for getting a binge eating disorder. So you can see this is the hypothalamus right here. So the hypothalamus is a part of your brain that controls your appetite. So it tells you when you're hungry, it tells you when you're not hungry. But if that hypothalamus is out of whack, then it's probable that you have a very low control over your appetite. So you can see that could definitely affect your risk of getting a binge eating disorder. So we're gonna have an activity here. So I want you to grab your whiteboard right there, and I want you to break into class groups of 2. And you're gonna talk about the 5 steps of the eating disorder. And then once you're done, just hold up your board. So go ahead and hold up your board. Great. So you guys all talked about it as a group. So common risk factors that promote eating disorder. So your family history. If anyone in your family has had an eating disorder, your probability of getting an eating disorder is going to be higher. Other mental health disorders, like I said, anxiety, depression, obsessive compulsive disorders can all increase your risk. Dieting and starvation. So if you have a habit of already dieting and starving yourself, you will have a higher risk. And stress. So anything from going off to college, family, relationship issues, and even moving can increase the risk for eating disorders. So common behaviors of eating disorders. So I'm just going to go through these. So repeatedly eating large amounts of sweets or high-fat foods, use of dietary supplements like laxatives, herbal products for weight loss strictly, way too much exercise, eating much more food than in a meal or snack that is what is considered normal, skipping meals or making excuses for not eating, adopting an overly restrictive vegetarian/vegan diet, excessive focus on healthy eating, and making your own meals rather than what your family eats. So some risks associated with undereating. So your heart can erode, it becomes weaker, your blood pressure falls to dangerous levels, and your pulse slows. Slow circulation can lead to ulcers in the legs, creating the feeling of extreme cold. Just like what we talked about earlier with people with anorexia, they have to bulk up on their clothing because they are cold. Slow and weakened heart can create an arrhythmia, which is an irregular beating heart. So, and also your sex hormones are interrupted and your sexual feelings decrease. So, signs of puberty in males, just like your menstruation or your nocturnal emissions receptibility, is out of whack when you have when you're under eating. Normal functioning of sexual hormones may be delayed, and even after you returning to your regular eating habits, they can still be delayed and they will not return back to normal. We're going to talk about how puberty. So puberty is a time when your bones grow and they strengthen, and but your hormone and nutritional changes have disturbing effects on your bone growth. So when bones don't grow during puberty, they will never recover. So the result later in life will be osteoporosis. You can see right here, it's a weakening of the bones, it's the hollowness of the bones, and it's basically going to increase your risk for fractures, bone breaks. So basically, especially during puberty, when you undereat, it is very crucial to your body. Also, for undereaters, digestive tract slows down. So when you do eat, it makes your stomach hurt, it makes you very uncomfortable because your body is still used to slow eating, creating high sensitivity of feelings of fullness and bloating. So it's a lot of risk associated with undereating. So we're going to analyze our diet for a second. I want you guys to think about these questions as we wrap this presentation up. So does your diet have recommended caloric intake for the day? Does it? What's things you should be thinking about? Does your diet reach all the recommended macronutrient intakes? Does your diet reach all of the recommended food intakes? Are you reaching all your vegetables? Are you reaching all your fruits? Does your diet exceed past the recommended caloric, macronutrient, or food group? Are you reaching way past what you should be getting? And does the diet consist of breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks? Are you missing a couple? Are you eating a little bit more than you should be? So just think about these questions as you go into the next part of these presentations. And we're going to go over an exit question, basically. So we're going to go back and we're going to think about, I want you guys to write down what you guys think and then go ahead and just tell me what is one eating disorder and what is one risk associated with it. So I'm going to have you answer, Tina.
I would say the binge eating cycle.
Okay.
And the risk associated with it is feeling deprived.
That's perfect. Yeah, thank you for listening to that. And it is very serious for the binge eating cycle. Can you name the 5 steps of the binge eating cycle for me? on your way out the door?
It would be feeling deprived is one.
Okay.
Overwhelming urge to eat.
Okay, yep, step number 2.
Binging.
Mm-hmm.
Feeling out of control or ashamed.
Mm-hmm.
And diet that you have to regain control of.
Yep, and then just keep starting back over. So you guys did great. Thank you for watching my presentation, and I hope you guys have a good day.